Hey everyone, welcome back to another tutorial. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be going through the work cycle of creating a YouTube banner. This is currently my YouTube banner if you've seen it on my channel, and I'm going to show you how to create it and the steps, the decisions that I made to create this, so you can also maybe use one or two of them. So of course, to start with, you're going to need a banner template, and I'm going to leave that in the description below, but it will make your work faster. That's what I'm saying. So it will look like this. But once you have your template, we need to figure out the layout of the channel. So like what goes where. So why do you make certain decisions? Of course, this is a design channel, so we explore the details in undergoing the design. So just a quick walkthrough for what I considered to create this. First of all, I'm asking myself what my channel is about. Okay, so what is my channel about? And then maybe like when when do I post? And this is optional, a call to action. So a call to action can be like, please subscribe. You've seen channels which have like subscribe button. Okay, and this is the basic element that you need for your design. So this can be like your name, or it can be what your channel is about. For example, mine is a design channel. Okay, yours can be about gaming or anything, and then or it can be a combination of the two. As you've seen here, this is both the name and the design, what I do. Okay, and then this is the when do I post. Like, so I need to introduce myself very quickly so that when someone comes, they're like, this is James. This is James's channel. He does design content and he uploads this often. So the rest of the things here, these ones are just design, just to fill up this space. You kind of make a layout which is interesting to you, and I made this. So I'm going to be walking you through the design processes of making all of this, but just to quickly note, you may see that, for example, these ones are of a lighter color than these ones and these ones. My main intention is to bring attention to what I want to say, what I want my channel banner to say. So that's why you're seeing that these ones are lighter than this. So they will kind of draw in attention to whatever is in this area here. So that's the design thinking, and that's why I used these designs. So choosing your designs is also very important because, for example, you may see that I've used these boxy shapes which are like kind of, if you've been like rock climbing, this is what I'm trying to portray here, showing you that like design is a step-by-step process whereby you sometimes it's not a clear road. So that's what I intend to achieve. So you will see that all the designs are like going up like that. So that's again a sort of visual communication that may or may not be necessary, but I felt I needed a simple way to express it, and that's why I chose this design. So getting straight into it, we are now going to, assuming you have your template, links in the description below if you don't have it. I'm going to begin laying out my guides, because actually we're going to eliminate this. We're not going to work with it. We're going to activate our rulers, and that is Control and colon on your keyboard, or you go to View in Rulers. So Control R will bring your rulers like that, and Control colon will hide or unhide them. we are going to now drag in the areas that we want. So for example, here you just click Ctrl 1 and it will zoom into 100%, and now you can move over to the left, and we want to align our guides just like this. So you try to align it very well, and do the same over this side. So when you're done, we now have this logo and safe area. We now want to begin. We can now turn off this layer because we don't need it. And of course, you see we have this background here, but it's not one I'm going to use for this video. For this video, I'm going to click here to bring up these options here, and then just select a light color and then click OK, and we're going to fill it in with a paint bucket tool. So if you don't want that, you can just make a new layer so that you make it on top of a new layer. Okay, so you just bring your paint bucket tool, which is here, and just fill it in. So once that is done, we are now going to work on the gradient. The gradient is, again, you go add a new layer here and bring up this value to be lighter than the background color, and now go to the gradient tool. Again, it's with the paint bucket tool, and then it will bring up these options here where it says this option here is from a darker color to a lighter color. Actually, I think you can change. Let me first change this color value so that maybe you would see it very clearly. Make it a little darker. So I'm making it a little darker so that you can see it. Going back to this lighter color, we want to make a light color but not turning towards white too much. So when we get our gradient tool, we now click here. You'd see it here, right? So you click, you select that, and then we are going to just click like that, and you'll see that it has made this kind of area where it's lighter on the sides but darker in the center, but we want the opposite. So we're going to click reverse here and we do it again. So now you'll see that you have a lighter color inside and a darker color outside. The thing we now want to do is to change the blending modes. You'll see that I'm scrolling through quickly the blending modes to help and find me the best color that I want. Okay, I'm going to go to difference. So when you get here, you realize the gradient is now shining inside, but outside it's dark. That's what we want, although the inner color is wrong. Here I've set the blending mode to difference. So what we're going to do is we're going to just quickly fix that by just clicking there to open this, and as you may see, the color there is not right. So just move it to the right color and then click OK, and then do it again. So it should fix the problem. Again, if you want to change you just go back and make the necessary adjustments. This is what we now have. The next part we're going to do is we're going to add some little bit of noise to this. So we're going to use this lower layer here. We're just going to duplicate this layer, Ctrl J to duplicate it. We can delete this layer actually. We're going to duplicate this layer and we're going to just go to filter and then noise, add noise. Now you add a small amount of noise, so around 1% will do for me, and this is now what I have. So without the noise, it's it's there, but keep it minimal. We're going to pull up our grid, and the way you pull up the grid is simple. Is first of all, you go to edit, preferences, so preferences, general, or you can straight away go to guides and grids, and here we want to set our grid line to 80 pixels. That's 80 pixels, and then for subdivisions, and then click OK. Once you go and click control and apostrophe, you'll see that it has those small grids, and that's what we want. Very small tiny grids, so that we click Control 1 to bring up the size just up to 100%, and we now get our rectangle tool, and just using one of those squares, let me zoom in here clearly so you can see. Using just one of the squares, you just make a square that is roughly the size of one of those small boxes. So make sure it's above the gradient layer so that it appears white in color. And the next thing we're going to do is to duplicate it. So Ctrl J will duplicate it, and now the layer below, both of those two layers, okay, so the layer below, we're going to rasterize it. After rasterizing it, we're going to make a fill color. So give it a fill color of, let's say, black, right? So we're going to give it a fill color of black. So we go to here where it says paint bucket tool and just click, and here you'll see that it's now black. It's a black color there. So the next thing, we're going to now distort the layer. So we go to edit, transform, distort, and just move your cursor over there, because you're going to make sure that we just move it just like that. Okay, so we move it from one corner to another corner. So you can decide to change it the way you want. You can use it like this, can distort it that way, or you can distort it, or you can distort it this way. Okay, so when we zoom out, for example, Ctrl 0, we can now turn off the grids actually, because we don't need them, and then click to confirm. You'll see that it has that sharp thing that goes around like this. Okay, so this is the same thing that you would see this side. We shall first of all, maybe you can extrapolate it to make a longer curve, but I'm going to leave it at this, and I'm going to go to filter again with that layer still selected, blur, and I'm going to blur it a little bit. I'm going to give it a Gaussian blur. So you'll see, if you're doing this with me, you'll see that it has now a softer edge, and that's what we want. So with that soft edge, we can now say, if you're happy with that, you can now just group them. So to make just one group, and now bringing our selection tool, we click Alt and just distribute them around. So what we want, if you look at this image here, we want it to be around, we want them to be distributed along the edges, okay? So again, you're going to move around here and just maybe put that there. And the faster way to do this is just click Alt on your keyboard so it brings those double arrows, the white and black one, and then just drag out. So I'm going to make this one group. This is going to be just one group and then another group this side. So what I'm going to do is to select all these layers. So shift selects all of them and group them all at once. And then I'm going to just move another group this side. And again, I'm going to ungroup this new layer which I just created. So again, that you can click and then ungroup layers and then just redistribute them around. We can now group this as well. Let's group it until here. So we have these layers. Oops, I need this to be also in, put it there. So we need them to be on one layer. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to just move these groups over to this side as well. So you can just do that, select all of them, and then with Alt just click and drag, so it will select two options just like this. Okay, you move them over to this side. You can click shift so that you retain the proportions, I mean so that it doesn't move up and down. So we have this group and this group. So what we can do is we can select this group and we transform it, we flip it horizontally so it faces this side, and maybe move it just around there. Click OK, and then move this group back this side, and again also flip this one horizontally. And just reposition it just to make something. The next thing you want to do is to add gradient overlays to each of these four groups that we created. So the first one is an adjustment layer, gradient overlay adjustment layer. You click there and then click OK and clip it to the group. So the group we are affecting is that one over here. What we can do is we can now double click into the overlay and kind of describe how we want it to affect this group. So if you're going for this, for example, where these ones are very dark and these ones are a little bit lighter, you can now leave it at that. Do the same for this one as well. So to do that, I'm just going to duplicate this layer. So I'm holding down Alt and clicking and dragging, and then I'm clicking Alt again to clip it to this lower group again, and then I'm double clicking in the gradient tool, and then I'm just redefining how I want it to affect the gradient, like this, for example. And then I'm going to do the same over to this side. Second part is to put your information, whatever you want, in composition form here. So I'm going to bring up the text tool, and with the text tool I'm using Franklin Gothic because that's the primary font that I use in my headlines and stuff. And I'm just going to click and put in my name. So my name. So for the sake of visual consistency, I'm going to use C7 for the color. So I'm going to double click the text area to select the whole of it and then scale it up just to get me where I want it to be, and then bring up my tool here and just reposition it the way I want. The next one, I'm going to say I'm doing graphic design, illustrations, and live videos. So I can increase the font a little bit, and in most cases you may want to add some sort of contrast in these cases where you're using fonts like this. For example, you may go for a sans serif font, or you may decide to do various things. For me, what I did for this, what I'm going to do is to add a rectangle. Okay, so I'm just adding some. There are very many forms of contrast. You may make it lighter or you may make it darker. For visual consistency, again, I'm going to use a color that is kind of the same as the colors in my image here. It depends on whatever I want. And then I'm going to double click and add a drop shadow, but I don't want the drop shadow to be too much, and also the color as well. So I'm going to decrease its opacity and click the drop shadow and also decrease its opacity, and we'll click OK. And now what I can do is I can group both of these so that they move together. So group them and then just move them in place. So my frequency of upload, it's a Wednesday and Sunday, and I'm going to give this also its own contrast, and maybe this time you can use a serif font. Since I've used the sans serif before, now I can use a serif font, and this will help kind of apply a little bit of contrast to what I'm doing. So once you're done, you would see here I have my navigator that I keep on referring to there. Of course, if you want the navigator, just go to the windows and then click navigate, and then you'll be able to see it there. But that now concludes it, and basically that's pretty much it. So you can now click here and then click out, and there you have your minimalist YouTube channel banner, whatever. So it just entails a few it gives a few design elements. You're showing that you're doing design work, what's your name, what are you doing, and when is the frequency of your upload. So whoever wants can come over there and subscribe, and then maybe they can check out your channel and everything, and then prompt them to subscribe. So it's all visual communication. So we don't want them looking over this side. That's why I'm not putting too much detail, and these far ends are a little bit less colored than this. So you can see there is maybe a subtle difference between this one and this one. I actually like this one much better now. But so yeah, feel free to do your own as well, and let me know if you want me to try other options. If you have like a gaming channel or anything and you want me to help you, I'll be glad. Just my emails, by the way, are in the description below and everything. If you need to figure something out, just shoot me an email or comment down below, and I'll be glad to help you. So I'm going to leave it at this, and I'll speak to you in the next tutorial. Take care.